Hello, Folke. Could you give an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Folke. I'm 13 years old. I'm from Sweden, and I am a copywriter, and I've made approximately $10,000 using the real world.
Okay, very cool. So, as a 13-year-old, you got into copywriting. Did you have any prior experience before you joined the real world?
No, zero. It's first copywriting. I've never heard about copywriting until I joined the real world. So it was I got all of the introduction and all of my first experience inside the real world.
Okay, very cool. And what made you actually decide to join the real world instead of doing what maybe other people your age are doing and just focusing more on maybe socializing, playing games, doing other things? What do you think gives you a different mindset and why did you decide to join?
Um, that's a great question. So I firstly it was about I've always liked tech and like laptops and phones a bit geeky, but so I wanted to buy a cool stuff and you quickly realize that you need money to buy things. So I
Mhm.
basically decided that I want to find a way that I could make more money, so that I could buy cool stuff.
Okay, so interesting. So in terms of cool stuff, more tech things. What do you want to do for future then? So go give me a bit more in terms of when you say cool stuff, what kind of things are you looking into?
What I'm looking into buying.
Hmm.
Um, well, I want to buy sports cars. I want to buy cool houses and watches, and that's what I'm
I
working
see.
towards.
So this is more for long term then, not for something now. I thought maybe you meant like a better computer so you can study like coding or something. Okay, interesting. So you're saying you're looking 18 and beyond, like really long term for this.
Yeah, I'm saving up and investing, and yeah, trying to manage my money.
Okay, interesting. What do you think gives you that kind of mindset at your age?
It's a great question, but I don't really know. It just
Mhm.
I don't exactly. I've tried to think about where it all came from, but I think it started when I was like 10 and I watched on YouTube like all these lifestyle videos. And so that's where I like started figuring out like I also want this lifestyle and I also want to live that way, like fast cars, big houses, nice watches, and that's sort of where it started. And then I guess I developed from there. And then when I was like 10 or 11, I started like an agency sort of. So that's probably where my entrepreneurial journey started. So it started like a 3D modeling agency, and that really got me into the entrepreneurial way or entrepreneurial part of the internet as I started watching like all these videos on how to do what an agency is and how you could scale it and all of that. But then, yeah, I didn't manage to scale that agency above $500 in total, so it was kind of a failure. But yeah, I guess, and then after that, I started looking into more things, and then Andrew Tate started popping up, and yeah, and after that, I guess I was just in this mindset, and after a while, I started hearing about Hustlers University, and then it was the real world, and then I joined, and yeah.
Mhm. All right. Okay, and since joining, what has the process been of learning copywriting, of acquiring new clients?
Well, well, um, well, it all started out. I tried to go through the beginner boot camp as quickly as possible, so I stressed through that in about a week and a half. And then after that, I started pretty quickly with outreach. And so I did a lot of outreach in the beginning. And then I saw no results. So I not even got an answer back from all my emails and all my DMs. And then I stopped for a while, like a few weeks, and then I picked it up, and then I decided now I'm gonna keep going until I get a client. So I kept going for about a couple of weeks, and then I got a few answers, and I booked a couple of them on calls, and I closed one of them. So I got my first client using the real world, writing emails for a small business for about $300 a week. No, a month. $300 a month. Sorry. So it was $150 up front, and then $150 after the work was completed.
Interesting. And what did the owner of that business say when you got on a sales call and he saw you were 13 years old? Did that make any kind of difference?
Yeah, so I had prepared him a bit before. So I said I'm quite young, but I told him that if someone knew how to do all these marketing stuff and then it's us, the younglings. And he was quite confident in my abilities. And so when I hopped on the call, he was a bit shocked still, but he was still, he had faith in me, and he believed in me, and yeah, so it all worked out.
Very interesting. All right. So that was, I guess, your first testimonial then. And how did things progress after?
After that, it goes, it's a compounding effect, so it goes just up and up and up and up. So shortly after that, I signed another client for, I think it was like $800 a month that time. Still writing their email newsletters. I took over from them and started writing emails for them. And then shortly after that, I actually lost my first client, the one that I had for $300 a month. And then I just worked with that one client for $800 a month. Now all of this happens pretty quickly. So we're at probably like 1.5 months in. So it all moves pretty quickly. So, but then after that, I signed one more client, and there I would rewrite his email sequences that he already had. So we wrote those. I got $500 from that, but that was only like a one-timer. And then I think after that, pretty quickly after that, I signed my first $1,000 a month client, which I still work with to this day.
For that $1,000 client, was that also a sales call?
Yes.
Okay, and how did that go?
So it went well. It was a short call, about just 20 minutes. But I made my presentation of how I was going to help them, and what I did, and my experience. And then he was also a bit shocked at how young I was. But I managed to close him too. I said $1,200 a month. He said $800 a month, and we met in the middle. So
Nice. What advice would you have to other people your age who might be in the real world and also doing copywriting, and they're thinking, I don't know if this will work because maybe I'm too young, so when I go on sales calls, they won't want to work with me. From your experience, what advice do you have to other people your age?
I mean, my biggest problem was just staying consistent. So discipline and staying consistent is definitely the biggest factors to your success. So, just setting a target. I want to send this amount of emails a month and this amount of emails, DMs a day. I meant a day, like emails a day and DMs a day. And then just being consistent, like doing everything to being consistent, and then punish yourself with push-ups or something else if you can't complete your target. And that's my biggest piece of advice for people in my age trying to get their first client. It's just being consistent, being disciplined, sending out a fixed amount of emails and or DMs a day, and just committing to it.
And what about specifically if they're worried that when they get on the sales call, the person they'll be talking to, maybe he won't want to give them the job because they're too young? What has your experience been with that?
Yeah, so I've had, I didn't talk about that before, but I've had a couple of calls where they just said, I think about it, and then it just pretty much ghosted me. So that has happened to me. And I guess you just have to suck it up and realize that failures only make you stronger, and keep on going.
Good. And eventually you will land the clients as you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So, okay, you got the 1,000 per month client. It's interesting how that scaled. So, first one was for 300 a month, I believe you said. And now you're scaled up to 1,000 a month from another client. Was there more after that?
Yeah, so pretty recently, I think I sent you a screenshot of that, but I signed one client, a Swedish client, because I live in Sweden, for, it's about $2,000 a month. It's 20,000 crowns. And 1 crown, 10 crowns is approximately $1, so it's about in that range. And that's my biggest client, and that's my main focus now. That takes up a lot of time because I have more work to do there. Because there I manage their email list, and I write the copy for their ads, and I do like almost everything copy related for that business.
Right.
That's my biggest client.
Very interesting. Yeah. And how has the real world helped you with your copywriting experience throughout this whole time that you've been acquiring the clients?
It's been a massive contributor. I mean, I have taken or I've used the copywriting campus for sending emails. Andrew is very experienced in that, so it's nice having him to ask questions to, and rewatch the videos and know how to send good emails. And then from Dylan, he has helped me with sending DMs and how to send DMs, and I've asked him how many DMs I should send a day. And yeah, I mean, the real world has really helped me with everything, like setting up my structure, and all my knowledge I have now is 95% from the real world. So
Beautiful. I love to hear that. What about the community and the Wins channel? Did that have any effect on you?
yeah, I mean, the Wins channel was, I had like like 2 weeks where I didn't send out that much outreach because I thought like, this is not working, I'm too young and all that. But anyway, you keep seeing all these guys like 15, 16 just landing clients for $1,000 a month and $1,500 a month, and I just thought that if they can do it, I can do it. So that's when I like picked it up again and started doing loads of outreach again, and then eventually it worked out.
Okay. So for some perspective for people, how many emails or DMs did you send before you landed your first client?
So at first, like, I sent like maybe 50 emails a day, but those weren't so personalized. And then after this like 2 week period where I didn't send any outreach, I started sending maybe 5 highly personalized emails a day instead, where I actually gave them the first email of an email sequence that I wrote for them, and that made I got like 10x the response a response rate from businesses once I made all my emails almost custom, and then gave them like showed them what
Mhm.
I could do with sending over them one free email. Yeah.
Okay, so with everything that you're doing now, what do your parents think about it?
Well, I first told my dad when I thought to myself that I'd tell my dad if I land a client. So I kept quiet about it until it actually became a thing.
Hmm.
So once I landed my first client, I told dad like, hey, I've landed this my client, and I don't know how to do with taxes and stuff. So I asked him, how do you deal with that? Um, so he helped me figure that out, and how to manage that. So that
Hmm.
was first when I told my parents, and they were not that shocked. I mean, they were shocked, but like it was not like something like super crazy. I
Hmm.
mean, he knew that I was on my computer a lot, and he knew I wasn't gaming all the time, so he knew I was up to something.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was a bit weird to tell them like I've landed a client for
Yep.
$300 a month. Yeah.
Okay, so I can imagine that you didn't want to say initially, just because maybe they'd think it's a scam, like someone's trying to scam you or something else. Okay, so that completely makes sense. You wanted to actually land the client and have proof before you tell them. And now that was for $300. So what about the 10,000 that you've made since? How have they reacted to that?
Well, that's when they like started. Uh, that's when they have started becoming a little bit more like, how can I say, like surprised.
Yep.
Because I mean, $10,000. That's a lot of money
Hmm.
for 13 years old. Now I don't manage all of it. Like my parents has like a like fund for me, so I
Hmm.
give like most of that money just right into that because I don't know what to do with it. I mean,
Yep.
it's I bought I bought my laptop that I'm on right now, and I've bought some other stuff. I mean, but more than that, I don't really need more. Because
Hmm.
I'm 13 years old. I live with my parents. I get food every day, and so there's nothing to buy really. Um, yeah.
Very sensible. Yeah. I like that. So it's crazy just how mature you are for a 13-year-old. It's
Thank you.
very interesting to listen to your story and that again you've made $10,000 at 13. It's something even to me after 200 interviews, it's surprising to hear. And it's great that
Yeah.
you're able to that you have such I don't know, I can't think of another phrase for it except you have your head screwed on. I think that's how people say it. That yeah, you know what you're doing in life and you're striving towards a positive direction. You're very mature. So yeah, really cool. Now, what would you say was the biggest challenge you faced with copywriting when you started out?
Well, my biggest challenge was landing a client for sure. I mean, the whole process of crafting an offer that's a good offer, and then making sure you have a good script, outreach script, and putting systems in place. It was a bit headache. Getting it all set up and then just going after it. I mean, I've always been pretty quick with learning things, so the part that, like, learning copywriting, how to write copy, was not the hard part for me. The hard part was, like, like getting in contact with businesses and um, making sure that they think I am a, like, not just some random 13-year-old, or like, it was very hard. All
Hmm.
of that. Um, that was definitely the hardest part. Making me seem credible and yeah, landing my first client.
Right. And how different is your average day now compared to before you joined the real world?
Yeah. So before I joined the real world, was waking up, or this is an average school day I'm talking about now. Then we just wake up, eat breakfast, go to school, and then you, after school, you stayed with your friends, or you just wasted time, and then you came home for dinner, and then you ate dinner, and then you, like, played video games with your friends, and then you went to sleep. I mean, and then you did some homework too. And then now, after, I mean, the mornings are almost all the same. Then I go to school, and then I come home from school instead of, like, going home to my friends directly after school. So I go home, and then I sit down at my computer for maybe 3 hours until it's dinner. And then work, like deep work, for 3 hours, and then I eat dinner, and then after dinner I work more until maybe an hour before I go to sleep, and then I read a couple of pages in my book, and then I go to sleep. I mean, it's a very
Hmm.
concise day.
Okay. So, what do you say to people who would call that excessive? Maybe they say, at your age, you should be just enjoying your childhood, having fun, and not working so hard. So, what's your mindset on that to people?
Um, well, um, I know Andrew Tate has said this. It's either 5 years of sacrifice or 50 years of struggle. So I really took that, like, that quote to heart, and I decided that it's better to start now and get rich now than having to struggle all through your, yeah, basically from 25 years of age till
Mhm.
65 years of age.
Exactly. And I very much agree with that.
Yeah.
Cool. So, since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
So in the short term, I mean, school begins in maybe 2 weeks. So it's currently, I don't know what you say, summer time,
Hmm.
or summer vacation, sort of, or summer break. And yeah, I'm having a nice time here. We live pretty much by the sea, so I go down to the sea a lot and swim. And I just focus on scaling and making more money and enjoying my life. And yeah, and then in the medium term, I've just started a Twitter account, and so I want to, like, establish a little bit of an online brand there.
Hmm.
So I want to grow that to at least like 1,000 followers, maybe. I'm at 50 followers now, so
Hmm.
it's a long way to go. Um, and maybe just keep doing this. I mean, I don't have any bigger plans, maybe until I'm 16 or something. But then, like, after that, maybe convince my parents that I don't need to go to university. My parents want me to go to university, so I have to
Hmm.
make sure that I make enough money to not go to university.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, like, have much of a plan laid out, more
Mhm.
than just keeping going and staying consistent.
And that's honestly completely fine because you're already heading in a good direction. So who knows? Yeah, it's hard to plan because who knows how things will play out. As long as you keep heading in that good direction, things will work out without even having that concrete plan that you need to follow. So yeah, I'd say that's completely fine as well. And now, what is your opinion on Andrew Tate then?
Well, he's the biggest contributor to all my success, mainly. Also the professors, of course, and all the learning material. But he was the he started all of this, I guess. On
Mm-hmm.
my whole journey in joining the real world and everything. So I mean, I I enjoy his opinions. I think yeah, I think it's a good influence on me
Mm-hmm.
and other kids in my age. And yeah, I mean, he's sort of shaped him, my dad, and some of my other my grandparents, and that have shaped me and my success
Mm-hmm.
now. But that's,
So
yeah.
I'd like to hear a bit more on, let's say in the UK, they're teaching in schools like anti Andrew Tate brainwashing stuff because they're saying he's brainwashing people your age. So you're saying it's a positive influence on you. What do you what do you think about the negatives things that are said about Andrew Tate, and how do you perceive them? Did that make sense?
I'm sorry. How do you?
How do you perceive what's the negative things that are being said about Andrew Tate?
I mean, yeah, I I don't really know why people don't like him. I mean, I only see good in him, and it's really sad to see that some people cut up these clips of him
Hmm.
and try to make him look bad. I think he's a really good influence on the youth, and so it's really sad to see people trying to put him down and making it seem like he's something he's not. Because he only he preaches hard work and dedication and discipline and all of these good stuff and religion and so on. And so I don't see why people would put him down, or
Hmm.
why all this negative stuff would have to happen to him.
Right. Okay. So thank you for that. I just wanted your perspective on it. Because again, in the media, they're saying that people your age are negatively affected, but clearly that's not the case. They're saying even your friends have been positively impacted as well. So okay, cool. So to end off, for people who are unsure about joining the real world because maybe they think it could be a scam for the $50, what advice would you have to them?
Join now. I mean, you have nothing to lose. I mean, if you have $50, join, because I mean, it's the best learning platform on the internet right now, and it's so much better than university or school or anything. I mean, it's honestly crazy that some people do not join, because there's only benefit in joining the real world. I mean,
Mhm.
I learned so much and I've made so much money, and my life has only improved since
Right.
I've joined. I mean, I became stronger with the fitness campus. I became richer with the freelancing and copywriting campus, and yeah, I mean, I have only good things to say about the real world, to be honest.
Right. I love that. And now, for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
So you can find me on Twitter at Folke and then BER with this, which is the first three letters of my
Mhm.
last name. So
Okay.
it's Folke and then BER.
I'll add that to the description of the video. So anyone interested, check that out. And Folke, thank you very much for sharing your story. It's awesome to see what trajectory you're on. I know I keep saying this, but at your age, because it's just, it's very unique to see someone like you. So I look forward to doing a follow up with you in about 3 months or so, just to check in on your progress, how everything is going for you, how it's scaling. And yeah, until then, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.